Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. This is my new YouTube setup and this is my new house. So I've got lights, but I've got a room that's not sound treated. So I'd like to first and foremost apologize for all the echo that you might hear or you're probably gonna hear. This is my Galaxy Note 10 in front of me, and in this video I'm going to explain to you why you should get this phone instead of the new Galaxy Note 20 if you're really choosing to buy the Galaxy Note 20. For those of you who have pre-ordered the Galaxy Note 20, then I would like to congratulate you on your purchase. It's not a bad phone by any margin. It's just that at about $3,899 of a starting price, I think you can get a better deal just getting this phone instead of that. Okay, to start things off, let's talk about the build quality. The Galaxy Note 10 Plus, I feel, is much better built than even the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra or the Galaxy Note 20. Just because this phone is built with Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and back, smooth glass, whereas you have a plastic back on the Galaxy Note 20 with a Gorilla Glass 5 in front, whereas the Note 20 Ultra has a Gorilla Glass 7 on the front and back. But both the Galaxy Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra are matte finish on the back, whereas this is smooth glass. So for some reason, I find this to be a little bit more durable, a little bit more better in hand, if you get what I mean, than the other two. Now, some of you are going to like the matte finish of the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra just because you're not going to be able to see fingerprints. But then again, this is why I bought this phone. This white color phone, it doesn't really show fingerprints. And in my opinion, I think this is way more beautiful than the other colors. This pure white is truly classy. Now, this phone also has a better panel on the front than the Galaxy Note 20. The one-year-old Galaxy Note 10 Plus sports a WQHD resolution panel versus just a Full HD panel on the Galaxy Note 20. They are both of 60 Hz, so you don't really lose out on any refresh rate. You've got better resolution on this, you've got better color on the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, and you also have better eye comfort. Now, this has been tested and given the certification by a company called VDE from Germany. The Note 10 Plus is the first phone, if I'm not mistaken, to spot the dynamic AMOLED panel versus the Super AMOLED Plus of the yesteryears. And the Super AMOLED Plus panel is the one that is found on the Galaxy Note 20. Now, how is dynamic AMOLED panel better than the Super AMOLED Plus? Based on what Samsung says, you get full P3 color gamut and you get better eye comfort based on the tuning of the display. So you're able to use this display for prolonged periods of time without hurting your eye. Now, that is something for you to consider because smartphones, as you know, it's all about the display. That's the only thing you're going to be touching, interacting, watching your stuff on it, browsing your social media, everything you're going to be doing via the display. So if you're going to get a better display for the same price, why not choose this? Next thing this phone does better than the Galaxy Note 20, it comes down to storage. This phone already ships with 512 gigs of storage. But if you like to further expand it up to 1.5 terabyte, you have the option to do that on this phone. Whereas on the Galaxy Note 20, you're stuck with 256 on the day of purchase, and it's going to be there till the end of the life of the phone. The other thing that this phone is good at compared to the Galaxy Note 20 is you're going to get better wired charging. This Note 10 Plus can charge up to 45 watts fast charging provided you have the adapter versus 25 watts capped for the Note 20. Now that we've got everything out of the way that what this phone does better than the Galaxy Note 20, let me tell you a few things that might be perceived as a better buy if you were to go and purchase the Galaxy Note 20 over this phone. Number one, that phone is new. It came out in 2020, it's most probably going to survive 1 year longer than this phone for software updates, security updates, and overall general health of the phone, meaning the battery and the processor and such. The only difference that that's going to make is from the Note 20 onwards, Samsung has promised to give 3 years of updates, whereas this phone is probably only going to get 2 years. Secondly, you get wireless DeX with that phone versus wired DeX with this phone. But that's also with a catch. If you're at home most of the time and at home you don't have smart TVs or TVs that can support Miracast or Chromecast, then it doesn't make any difference. This phone can do everything that the Note 20 can do, just with the exception that it can't do wireless DeX. Right. The other point that people are going to mostly argue about is that the Galaxy Note 20 has a better processor than the one-year-old Galaxy Note 10 Plus. But I think you got to take that with a grain of salt. In Malaysia, we are unfortunate that we get the Exynos series of processors. Let me share a true story with you. My first Galaxy Note was the Galaxy Note 8, and I was fortunate enough to get a Snapdragon version of it from Hong Kong. The price was about the same, the phone looked the same, behaved differently. How different are we talking about? I used that phone for 2 years. It did not lag, battery was great, and when it came to gaming especially games like PUBG is a little bit of a pain, it's not so optimized. So can you imagine a 2-year-old phone handling that game at high settings, whereas the Exynos version of it, which my friend had at that time, he could only game PUBG on his Galaxy Note 8 with medium setting. That is how good the Snapdragon processors are. And even when I used to game for hours on end with my Galaxy Note 8 plugged in, it does thermal throttle. I mean, it's an old chipset after 2 years, but not as bad as the Exynos version. So let's come back to this phone versus that phone. How much of a difference does the Exynos 990 versus the 9825 make? This is a cheat sheet comparing these two processors from a website called nanoreview.net. And as you can see here, the CPU performance between 9825 of the Galaxy Note 10 Plus and the Exynos 990 of the Galaxy Note 20 is only of about 10 points. Gaming performance is about 8 points, battery life is the same, and the overall score that NanoReview gives is of about 9 points better. So overall, that's not much of a difference. Getting this 1-year-old phone, getting a new phone for the same price, you don't really get much of a difference. Slightly better CPU performance, slightly better gaming performance, but then again, battery life is the same. What kind of battery life are we talking about? On average with this phone, because of the Exynos chipset that is in here, I don't really get very good data connection. I am in Sramban using Maxis. I lock this panel at QHD first, and I do not go below that because I paid a lot of money for it. And I leave adaptive power saving mode on. So with all these three conditions, I average about 4.5 to about 5 hours of screen on time every single day. That's with normal charging and not fast charging. So you're going to get about the same kind of battery life with the Galaxy Note 20. Now, let's say you can get the Snapdragon version of the Galaxy Note 20, then should you buy that over this? Maybe, then I would say go ahead. Because the difference between the Exynos 990 and the Galaxy 865 Plus is much greater. How much greater? Let me show you. CPU performance, you've got about 8 points higher. Gaming performance, you've got 27 points higher. Battery life, you've got 5 points higher. And overall score of about 13 points higher. Now that is a big difference. I never had any problem using the phone that came from Hong Kong, with the exception that Samsung Pay was locked to Hong Kong. So this is about the only thing that you got to be mindful of. For those of you who are gamers and you're wondering how this phone handles after 1 year, trust me, the phone handles fine. This phone games perfectly fine on Call of Duty Mobile or even PUBG. The graphic settings are both on high. It does thermal throttle a little bit when the phone gets warm to the touch, but it doesn't get anywhere so bad that the frame drops so much. This phone does not get uncomfortably hot during gaming. I usually plug this phone in charging while I play. I have a dongle that I did a review of. You can check it out here, I'll link it up. A dongle that supports both power delivery, fast charging, and a headphone jack. So I usually plug the dongle in, put the phone to charge, and then I'll be gaming for hours on end. This is a recorded gameplay straight from this phone, non-edited in any way, so you're able to see how good the gaming performance is on Call of Duty Mobile. Okay, now the other thing comes down to this guy, the S Pen. A simple little plastic device that stood the test of time from the Galaxy Note right up to the Galaxy Note 20. It's gone through multiple iterations, multiple advancements and improvements, and now we are standing here on the cusp of what I would say to be the best accessory for mobile phones. You can draw with it, sketch with it, write notes with it, sign PDFs with it, take notes in class. You can even edit photos, or you can just use this as a cursor for your phone while you're sitting back on a couch and you don't want to dirty your phone with your fingerprints. The only thing that they've improved with the S Pen on the Galaxy Note 20 as compared to Galaxy Note 10 Plus is the latency. You get 42 milliseconds on the Galaxy Note 10 Plus versus 26 milliseconds on the Galaxy Note 20. Is that much of a difference? No. Don't fall for it, because I've been using this for 1 year. I've edited photos, I have signed PDF, drawn, taken notes. You don't really notice the difference. It just draws, it works fine, because the canvas is only of about 6.8 inch. You don't really notice the difference or the latency. If you're talking about the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, then yes, that's a lot of difference, because from 42 milliseconds, you're down to about 9 milliseconds. That's a big jump. That's something like using the Apple Pencil on the iPad Pro here. Finally, let's talk about the cameras that you're going to find on this phone versus the Galaxy Note 20. On this phone, you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 12 megapixel wide angle, and a 16 megapixel telephoto zoom capable of 2x optical and about 10x extended digital zoom. Whereas on the new Galaxy Note 20, you're going to get 12 megapixel ultra wide, 12 megapixel wide, and a 64 megapixel telephoto zoom capable of 3x optical and 30x extended digital zoom. The camera modules are not really that much different from the Galaxy Note 10 Plus that I have in front of here. Hardware does make a difference, but I think if you ask me, the thing that makes the most difference comes down to the software. If your AI is good enough to analyze the scene and you've got the color balance accurately displayed, you can get away with even an inferior hardware. Now, how good are the photos that come out from a 1-year-old phone? Well, here are some camera samples. I've taken this against strong backlights on my balcony here, and you can see that the black magic is pretty much exposed. You can see details, just a little bit of adjustments, and you can get all the shadows boosted. Video recording is fantastic, the colors are fantastic. Good enough for Instagram, good enough for Facebook, it's good enough for social media. Maybe the live focus could be improved. In this shot, you can see that the cables have been cut off, but that's just down to AI. You can't really fault the phone. I'm pretty sure even the Galaxy Note 20 would do something similar. This phone has also gone through multiple iterations of updates over time for this past 1 year, and now this phone has some of the features that the Galaxy Note 20 has, or Note 20 Ultra. You've got single take mode, you've got live focus for both photo and video, and they've also updated this camera app to have pro photography, a beautiful night mode, and even pro videography. So you don't really miss out on anything. The only thing that you might miss out is 8K video recording, but honestly, where are you going to upload 8K? If you're a content creator, if you really know how to edit videos, you want to upload, you want to use your phone for video recording, then maybe 8K might be useful to you. But if you're just a social media person, then it's not going to make any difference. The 4K out of here is perfectly fine. Now that about wraps up this video. I've listed a few options this phone is better at, and a few options about how the Note 20 is better. It all comes down to whether or not you want to take that step to get a 1-year-old phone. It's not a normal thing to do, but in this case, it's something for you to think about, because overall you're getting a better package with the Galaxy Note 10 Plus versus spending the same money and getting the Galaxy Note 20. Now, if you had pre-ordered the phone, well, you get about 600 ringgit worth of extra, so that's fine. But if you're buying it fresh out of pre-order, then consider getting this, because I think some of the sellers on Lazada gives you about 1,000 ringgit worth of free gifts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. I mean, would you go for the Galaxy Note 20 just because it's newer and it looks more beautiful with the mystic bronze and matte finish? Or would you buy the Galaxy Note 10 Plus and be happy with it? If you don't really care about the S Pen, then I would suggest you go buy other phones. You've got Xiaomi, you've got Vivo, you've got Oppo. You even have Huawei if you're the type that is able to experiment and sideload apps. OnePlus. Or you could just go to the dark side and get an Apple iPhone. Funny story, if you were to trade in your Galaxy Note 10 Plus and upgrade to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, this phone only gets you about half its original price. This phone retailed for 4,699 and Samsung only takes their phone back for about 2,495. That is sad. An entry-level iPhone 11, 128 gigs, fetches you better price than their flagship Note 10 Plus from last year. That's funny. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, as that will help this channel a lot. Till I see you in the next one, do take care of yourself and have a nice day. Bye-bye. Selamat sejahtera.